A technician places an instrument set into a steam sterilizer without thoroughly cleaning visible soil because the sterilization cycle will kill everything anyway. What is the most important reason this is incorrect? A. Steam sterilization cannot reach the correct temperature with dirty instruments. B. Soil can shield microorganisms and prevent effective sterilization. C. Cleaning is only needed for implantable devices. D. Steam sterilization removes visible soil during the exposure phase. Answer. B. Soil can shield microorganisms and prevent effective sterilization. A facility is deciding whether to process a moisture-sensitive device in steam or dry heat. Based on the basic principles of high-temperature sterilization, what is the best choice? A. Steam, because it is always the preferred method regardless of device design. B. Dry heat, because steam should not be used for items adversely affected by moisture and heat. C. Steam, because it leaves no chemical residue. D. Either method, because all high-temperature processes affect devices the same way. Answer. B. Dry heat, because steam should not be used for items adversely affected by moisture and heat. A technician notices that a complex medical device is harder to sterilize than a simple solid instrument. Which factor best explains this increased challenge? A. Device design can make sterilant contact and penetration more difficult. B. Complex devices have less bioburden than simple instruments. C. Complex devices always require dry heat instead of steam. D. Steam sterilization is less effective on metal devices. Answer. A. Device design can make sterilant contact and penetration more difficult. A contaminated device has a very high number of microorganisms present before processing. How does this most directly affect sterilization? A. It makes the sterilization process less necessary. B. It makes sterilization easier because microorganisms compete with each other. C. It increases the difficulty of achieving effective sterilization. D. It affects drying only, not sterilization effectiveness. Answer. C. It increases the difficulty of achieving effective sterilization. A technician states that decontamination and sterilization mean the same thing because both make devices safe for patient use. Which response is most accurate? A. Correct, because both processes destroy all microorganisms including spores. B. Incorrect, because decontamination kills most but not all microorganisms, while sterilization destroys all remaining microorganisms including spores. C. Correct, because sterilization begins during decontamination. D. Incorrect, because decontamination removes all visible soil and sterilization only dries the device. Answer. B. Incorrect, because decontamination kills most but not all microorganisms, while sterilization destroys all remaining microorganisms including spores. A technician is reviewing why steam is the sterilant of choice in many facilities. Which reason best supports its widespread use? A. It is the slowest but safest method. B. It works well only for heat-sensitive devices. C. It is effective, reliable, relatively low cost, and leaves no chemical residue. D. It requires no cleaning before use. Answer. C. It is effective, reliable, relatively low cost, and leaves no chemical residue. A hospital's large steam sterilizer does not generate its own steam. Instead, steam enters from an external source into the jacket. What is the primary purpose of the jacket? A. To cool the chamber walls before exposure begins. B. To dry the load after the exhaust phase. C. To remove all air from the chamber by vacuum alone. D. To preheat the chamber walls and minimize condensation when hot steam enters. Answer. D. To preheat the chamber walls and minimize condensation when hot steam enters. A technician notices repeated condensation forming heavily on the chamber walls at the start of cycles. Which component is most directly intended to reduce this problem? A. the chamber drain screen. B. The door gasket. C. The jacket surrounding the chamber. D. The loading cart. Answer: C. The jacket surrounding the chamber. A steam sterilizer door cannot be opened while the chamber remains under pressure. What is the most important reason for this design? A. To improve drying efficiency. B. To maintain the printout record. C. To provide a safety lock and prevent opening under pressure. D. To reduce bioburden in the chamber. Answer: C. To provide a safety lock and prevent opening under pressure. During daily checks, the technician finds debris accumulated on the chamber drain screen but decides to leave it until the end of the week. What is the most likely concern? A. The debris will improve condensate removal. B. The debris may impede cycle performance. C. The sterilizer will automatically sterilize the drain screen during the cycle. D. The only risk is cosmetic damage to the chamber floor. Answer: B. The debris may impede cycle performance. A technician reviews the sterilizer printout and sees that one required cycle parameter was not achieved, but the load appears normal externally. What should happen next? A. Do not release the load and notify the supervisor immediately. B. Release the load if only one parameter was missed briefly. C. Release the load if the packaging looks dry. D. Repeat only the drying phase and then release the load. Answer: A. Do not release the load and notify the supervisor immediately. In a tabletop sterilizer, steam rises to the top of the chamber and forces air downward and out through the drain. When the steam reaches the drain line, a thermostatic valve closes. What happens next? A. The chamber immediately cools for drying. B. Steam pressure builds until the operating temperature is reached. C. Air is pulled out by vacuum pulses. D. The door unlocks automatically for exhaust. Answer: B. Steam pressure builds until the operating temperature is reached. A technician is comparing gravity displacement and dynamic air removal sterilizers. What is the main advantage of dynamic air removal? A. It uses lower temperatures than gravity displacement cycles. B. It removes air more effectively during preconditioning, reducing the chance of air pockets. C. It eliminates the need for drying time. D. It is used only for immediate use sterilization. Answer: B. It removes air more effectively during preconditioning, reducing the chance of air pockets. A pre-vacuum steam sterilizer is being used daily, but no Boydic or daily air removal test is performed. What is the most important risk? A. The chamber jacket may overheat. B. The door gasket will automatically fail. C. The load may dry too quickly. D. Air removal failure may go undetected. Answer: D. Air removal failure may go undetected. A technician completes an immediate-use steam sterilization cycle and places the processed item on a shelf for later use that afternoon. Why is this practice wrong? A. Immediate-use cycles always damage instruments during cooling. B. Immediate-use sterilized items are expected to be dry and shelf-stable. C. Items sterilized by immediate-use steam sterilization should be used immediately and not stored unless specifically FDA approved. D. Immediate-use cycles can only be run in the central service department. Answer: C. Items sterilized by immediate-use steam sterilization should be used immediately and not stored unless specifically FDA approved. A sterilized load fails because steam did not contact all surfaces of the devices, which condition necessary for effective steam sterilization was most directly missing. A. Contact. B. Drying. C. Labeling. D. Cooling. Answer: A. Contact. A technician places instruments into a set so tightly that air cannot escape easily during the cycle. What is the most likely result? A. Faster heating of the load. B. Better steam penetration. C. Air entrapment that interferes with sterilization. D. Improved drying after exposure. Answer. C. Air entrapment that interferes with sterilization. A wrapped package is prepared so tightly that steam cannot move freely through the contents. Which problem is most likely? A. Excessive chamber pressure. B. Steam contact failure due to trapped air. C. Incorrect sterilizer printout. D. Overheating of the door gasket. Answer. B. Steam contact failure due to trapped air. A technician loads the sterilizer cart so closely packed that there is almost no visible space between packs. Why is this incorrect? A. Air may be trapped and steam may not penetrate all areas. B. The load will cool too quickly. C. The external indicators may change too fast. D. The exposure time will automatically shorten. Answer. A. Air may be trapped and steam may not penetrate all areas. A basin set is loaded flat in a way that allows water to pool inside it during the cycle. Which principle of steam sterilization is most directly affected? A. Steam color change. B. Steam contact and condensate drainage. C. Chart recording. D. Door locking pressure. Answer. B. Steam contact and condensate drainage. A sterilizer's chamber drain strainer becomes clogged with lint and tape fragments. What is the most likely consequence? A. Improved condensate evacuation. B. Better steam circulation. C. Shorter drying time. D. Impaired cycle performance and air removal. Answer. D. Impaired cycle performance and air removal. A technician notices a malfunctioning steam trap but decides to adjust the cycle settings instead of reporting it. What is the correct action? A. Continue using the sterilizer if packs appear dry. B. Attempt repair only after the last cycle of the day. C. Call a qualified service representative for the repair. D. Increase exposure time to compensate. Answer. C. Call a qualified service representative for the repair. A gravity steam sterilization cycle is run at 250 degrees Fahrenheit, 121 degrees Celsius, while a dynamic air removal cycle is run at 272-275 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the best explanation for this difference? A. Gravity cycles always sterilize faster. B. Dynamic air removal cycles generally operate at higher temperatures than gravity cycles. C. Gravity cycles do not require steam. D. Dynamic air removal cycles are used only for textiles. Answer. B. Dynamic air removal cycles generally operate at higher temperatures than gravity cycles. A load reaches the correct temperature, but the exposure time is shortened below the evaluated cycle requirement. What is the most accurate result? A. Sterilization may fail because adequate exposure time is also required. B. Sterilization remains effective because temperature is more important than time. C. The load will simply take longer to cool. D. Only the packaging material is affected. Answer. A. Sterilization may fail because adequate exposure time is also required. A technician describes saturated steam as dry steam with no water content. Why is this statement incorrect? A. Saturated steam contains the maximum amount of vapor water and must have moisture for effective sterilization. B. Saturated steam is the same as room air at 0% humidity. C. Saturated steam is used only in dry heat sterilization. D. Saturated steam works only at low temperatures. Answer. A. Saturated steam contains the maximum amount of vapor water and must have moisture for effective sterilization. A sterilizer is producing superheated steam instead of saturated steam. What is the most important concern? A. The steam will leave excessive chemical residue. B. The steam lacks moisture and becomes a poor sterilant. C. The exposure phase will become shorter. D. The chamber pressure will always remain too low. Answer. B. the steam lacks moisture and becomes a poor sterilant. A technician prepares an instrument set in a solid bottom tray rather than a perforated or mesh bottom tray. Which process may be most negatively affected? A. Label adhesion. B. Air removal, steam penetration, and condensate drainage. C. External indicator color change. D. Cart movement into the chamber. Answer: B. Air removal, steam penetration, and condensate drainage. A load contains both textiles and hard goods. They must be processed together. How should they be positioned? A. Hard goods on top shelves and textiles below. B. Textiles should be placed at the chamber floor. C. Both mixed randomly for balance. D. Textiles on top shelves with hard goods below. Answer: D. Textiles on top shelves with hard goods below. A technician unloads warm sterile packages and immediately places them into plastic dust covers. What is the main risk? A. The packages will dry faster than intended. B. Condensation may become trapped and damage the items. C. The internal chemical indicators will fail automatically. D. The packaging will become easier to open aseptically. Answer: B. Condensation may become trapped and damage the items. After a steam cycle, moisture is found inside one tray in the load. What is the correct response? A. Consider the tray contaminated, repackage it completely, and reprocess it. B. Release the tray if the outside appears dry. C. Wipe the inside dry and store it for later use. D. Replace only the internal indicator and return it to storage. Answer: A. Consider the tray contaminated, repackage it completely, and reprocess it.